This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Morning, we're taking a look into the week in review, and there'll be certain things that come up in this conversation, that is for sure. If you're just tuning in, this is the Situation Room. Our live stream still continues to be up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X, and our audience on KTN is here, and we continue looking at certain things, and I know that from this conversation, certain things will come up. We will then take the week in focus. What are the things that happened? I mean, it looks like so long ago, but imagine it was just Monday. And when you ask yourself, okay, so all of this happened this week? Yes, it did. And to allow us have that, rather to enable that conversation this morning, Abok Elisha is a political analyst and a governance expert, and he's here with us this morning. Good morning, Abok.
Morning.
Karibu sana.
Yes.
Thank you for being here today. We'll be joined in a short while by Antony Karumba this time. Hopefully all good. He's president of the One Tribe, One Nation Gen Z movement. So he'll join us in a short while as well. So the weekend review is what we're looking into. But before that, let's start the conversation. We'll do that with today's proverb. Will Dennis share?
Yes, the proverb today comes from Lesotho, the water tower of South Africa, the highest country in terms of elevation in the world, standing at over 1,000 meters above sea level. And the proverb that we get is a person's character is their treasure. A person's character is their treasure. How would you interpret it?
To my understanding, when you're saying that the person's character is a treasure, it means the way you are behaving in the society matters a lot to the nation, or to even to your family, to anybody associating himself or herself with you. Yes.
Okay. Well said indeed. Give us an overview of what the week looked like from your perspective. When we woke up Monday morning and then started off the week, we weren't really sure where we would come by the end of it. But just let's hear from you what you thought it looked like, whether it was from a political or a social justice scale.
To my understanding, the week has been good from Monday to today, but the unfortunate thing is that there is a youth that lost his life, which is unfortunate to us as the youths. So the rest, we can say that we can cope up with them. Yes.
Okay, well, we're going to get into the details, but Antony Karumba is here as well. Antony, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Last time we were talking, we were not sure if you were going to be let out of your house.
Sure. Last time, actually, it was terrible. But we thank God that we are here this morning.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
As we get into this conversation this morning, just, about giving us his rendition of what he felt the week looked like. There are a number of things that have happened this week. And yes, unfortunately, a young person was killed in circumstances which are still unclear to folks. And also, the politics has taken a different, turn with all of these things. So coming off of a week after the commemoration of the Gen Z protests of 2024, and looking into a space where one hopes that things can look a little bit better. What is your thought about the trajectory in which things are going now?
Well, first of all, let me begin by thanking you very much because of this wonderful opportunity. Secondly, I must first of all thank you in person together with Dennis because and your Evelyn, the director of the show, because of how you intervened in my case last week, and coming out to what is happening. Actually, it's very much traumatizing to see we are losing young people. For us, we are losing votes. When we see a young soul losing life, that is a vote that you have lost. And it's quite worrying because looking at the circumstance under which, like for instance, this case that we have of Cecil Odhiambo, this is Oma, yeah. It's something that we've been talking about again and again, about exploitation of the young people by some of the leaders, some of the politicians, because following into the details in terms of what happened is that these people were in a meeting whereby the guy, his role was specific to bring other fellow young people in the meeting. And then after the meeting, we had this altercation because of the agreement of the money and all that, and then leading to the loss of such a young person. And I think, first of all, we condemn the act because I don't think at any point we should lose a human being because of shillings or some petty cash and handouts that actually they are being given. Because if here they're talking of things like 10,000, surely you see, even if it's how much amount of money, it's not really making sense to lose such a person. But again, also it's a lesson to all the young people that, of course, those people that you're following in the name of politicians, so that you can get handouts, definitely they don't love you. All they need is a value that you have, or else a service, maybe for PR purposes. Like in such, they needed to have numbers, and the gentleman was used. Then after that, it's like a beautiful girl who is actually somebody looking at her, and then once you achieve whatever you want, you have left. And as young people, we are a generation that is capable, a generation that is a bombshell, and therefore limiting or reducing ourselves to the level of being used as people of handouts, it's actually taking us to a very, very low stupid. Then also, secondly, I must admit that we as the Gen Zs, first of all, I congratulate ourselves all over the country because of not showing up in demonstrations of 25th, as we agreed. This is a discretion that we reached to. It, of course, had a lot of views from the people. People are actually like shocked. Why is it that this time round we are used to you guys going to the streets? Why again have you come out to say that you're not going to the streets on 25th? And indeed, we never came. But it's specific. We looked at things in a very candid way because it was all about our lives. And you see, this is very, very critical because every time we have been in the streets, right from 2024, 2025, Sabasaba, and all other protests that have actually happened in the Republic of Kenya, we have scenarios whereby it's a must you lose a life. And for us as Gen Zs, when you lose a life, you're losing a vote, you're losing a dream, you're losing a very, very, a promising future. And therefore, we agreed that we are not going to show up because our lives matters. And again, also remember that a Gen Z affair was infiltrated by the political class, was also infiltrated by some other people. Among us, actually, we have those individuals who gained visibility during the protest. And we saw some of them being, taken to the front line by the politician that called the Gen Zs to come to the streets. But again, we didn't have a clear, streets are not just, we don't just go to the streets for no reason. We go to the streets to demand for something, to demand for justice, to demand for accountability, to demand for good governance. But now, when the streets are not serving the cardinal, the original intention, then actually we lose it.
Okay, let me ask you, Mr. President. I agree. The uprising in 2024 had its own, merits and demerits because we lost life. But it gave birth to a new nation, an awakening that now as a country, we can actually command the direction this nation takes. Social justice, economically, politically, in all aspects. And many say that it was just an event and it was done. Others argue it is a revolution to liberate our country and it is on. I would want to hear your opinion on that. And as you respond to that, it is true, protests, or rather, in my opinion, a revolution takes shapes and form as it advances. Sometimes silent protest may work. But in such an instance like today, we may have agreed to go silent on the protest in June 25th. But when we have lost one Cecil or Umar, would the youth be in order to march to the PS office and demand resignation, to march to DCI, to march to DPP, and demand for law to be employed on this particular matter?
Well, first of all, beginning with your first question, 2024, we marked an unprecedented moment as the Gen Zs of the Republic of Kenya. And this was a very historic moment because even the whole world, remember after that, we saw other countries who emulated the same, likes of Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Madagascar the other time.
Right.
And so 2024, we marched out, or we came out to the streets to demand for accountability, justice, end of corruption, end of tribalism, end of all these things that we have been talking about. And you see, this was very critical because we were challenging the status quo. Gen Zs, we are a generation that is not really political as people view us. We are a political people who are just conscious of the matters of their country, matters governance. And this conscious generation, we are actually saying, all we need, it cannot be that we go to school, we study our degrees, we study our different professions and achieve all that, and then you come out at Mr. Politician up and you're nakuzuia your success. So that actually propelled us to go to the streets. And of course, what the war we began against corruption and against injustices and tribalism and all that, this war is still on. The only mistake that we did is we came out as leaderless, as tribeless, as faceless, as leaderless, yeah? And that leaderless aspect is what now made the politicians to see a niche, and they came in thinking that they want to exploit and take advantage now to be our spokesman. You saw the other day when you were talking about the demonstrations of 2026, it's politicians who are going to the vigilance house to report that we are going to have a demonstration, you get. And ours is simple. A fight for a good Kenya is unstoppable. That one is until we achieve it. And that is why we reached to a point and we discovered one thing. If we remain faceless, if we remain leaderless, we are not going to achieve it. A revolution without a leader is easy to have a puzzle between you because we need a direction. We need at least somebody to cheer up. We need at least somebody to remind us this is what we agreed, this is what we are going to go to this direction. You get my point? Like now, look at how we did. On 23rd, we went and we did a press and we told people now, looking at things how they are and we don't want to lose our lives again, we are not going to go. Look, nobody turned up.
Were the people speaking then, the leaders of the Gen Z, in that conference?
Well, of course. We spoke as the leaders. I'm actually the president of One Tribe, One Nation Gen Z movement. And you see, the direction we are taking, we are heading in the right direction as the Gen Zs. Because if it is previously, when we've been there, like everybody can speak on our behalf, everybody can say anything, can give directions. You would find just somebody, a TikToker or anybody, just comes and says, as the Gen Zs, let's do this. And then you find you're fooling people and they're going to do something that is regrettable later.
Well, let's hear Abok because he has something to say. You see, I'm surprised how the president is talking because sometimes revolutions in the world that has happened, revolution has to achieve something. But for us, the revolution that we saw in 2024, it didn't achieve anything, as per my understanding.
Sure.
And it was something that was cooked by politicians, and that is the reason as to why they were calling it faceless, leaderless, rudderless. Because, just a moment, I gave you your time, so just give me my time. And proceed.
You see, I understand if you can actually overlook now revolutions or the fight to just government, just society has been happening into the nation. After all, we fight to the street until we actually achieve something. Like when we went to the street the other time when we were fighting for the Constitution, we achieved the Constitution. Today, the Gen Zs, people can quote that Article 37, give us the authority to go to the street. They don't know how that fight started and how that fight ended. That fight actually consumed more lives than the Gen Z. The Gen Z's one was it consumed only one life. Right?
What?
No. It consumed, what I'm saying, it was only a revolution that was conducted on only one day. Many people were killed compared to these revolutions that has happened.
Is that right? Is that not?
No. Losing even a life. And that is the reason that's why I started here. That this week started well, but it ended bad because we lost one life. Losing one life, it is paramount to in fact, it is paramount to demonstrations. Youth should go out and demand why this youth was killed. Why? And we need also to allow the independent bodies
to do their investigation, to know, because me and the president or any other in this house, we cannot ascertain and we cannot substantiate what happened inside the vehicle where Cecil Ouma was. So we need to allow the authorities to actually conduct the investigations. So I wanted to tell the president, we need to have, if, for instance, we want to fight for something, we need to have the objectives, and we need also to set the timeline. When we are starting it, how are we going to end it? And how are we going to achieve what we want? But the Gen Z uprising that took place in 2024, it was infiltrated by the politicians. I was wondering, seeing old people are heading to the police officers that now they are going to commemorate. These are the people who could have commemorated their soldiers who fallen when they were fighting, not the Gen Zs. To me, I found it like it is just a mockery to our democracy, right? And we as the youths, we need to rise and we need to have an agenda. And sometimes we need to sit back, dialogue, because dialogue also can give us the best, leadership we want.
I mean, when we talk about dialogue, and let's talk about even achievements of the 2024 Gen Z protest. And just like the question that Kamanya asked, is that brought about an awakening in terms of constitutionalism, governance, and adherence to the rule of law. That in its own self, one would say, is an achievement that came out of the push that we saw Kenyans were pushing on the streets. But that notwithstanding as well, one of the immediate successes we saw is that bill was actually kicked out. We will discuss about the political games that were played around and how that these clauses in that bill came back. But in the immediate successes that we saw, cabinet was dissolved, president sat down with Wananchi and had that conversation, the dialogue that we are talking about right now. But that notwithstanding, President, the buck stops again somewhere with the president. Right? And as we the buck stops with the president. So even now, as we talk about the dialogue and conversations that continue, I ask myself, how genuine are these conversations and dialogue? Because on one hand, we talk about all the independent bodies to be allowed to do their work. They have the power. They need not be reminded what they need to do. It's because in one way or the other, they have surrendered their power to do that which they ought to do. The president says, no, not you, President William Ruto says, we have received this report that talks about compensation. It goes further to say it will never happen again. What are we seeing? Cecil dies again from a bullet of a police officer. I ask the question, how genuine is it that with the frustrations that Kenyans are passing, they are being heard, they are being listened, and that intentionally we are changing for the better?
Can I interject a bit? You see, I've been a great campaigner. I'm telling our youths, we need to deviate from this politics of tokenism, because the politics of tokenism is actually making our youths to lose their life. Because when you see or when you hear what people are talking about, what Cecil was fighting for, it was about the 10K. He was given 10K, which we cannot even substantiate whether it is true. We need to sit down as youths. We need to have a candid and an honest conversation on how we want to go as youths.
How do you want to go? Because everybody
keeps
keeps saying, let's have a conversation and let's get... How do people actually want to
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
We have a constitution. When you check at the chapter 6 of the constitution, it gives us the integrity and leadership. If we can adhere to this integrity and leadership, we can get good leaders into the office. Why? The moment today, President, you're going to vie. When you vie, people don't vet you because you have more money you give out, you dish out. So people will elect you because you're dishing more money out to them. So if we can deviate from this politics of tokenism and start using the chapter 6 of the constitution, we vet, who is this guy? Where did you came from? What have you been doing? Why do you want to lead us? From there now we will be having an honest conversation. But what I'm telling you today here, and you will mark this, even if we talk even if Jesus come today and we are not going to change our ways on how we are going to do our politics, we will still end up with bad leaders. today, the way you have said in the finance bill of 2024, it was not the president. It was about the members of parliament, because this bill, if you can check the way this bill is prepared until the last moment, it passes through the members of parliament. These are the people who failed the nation, because they are the people who passed this bill. And the moment president called for a press and said, now we are going to recall the bill, they are the people who surrounded the president clapping. So going forward, in the next election, next year, we need to vet. We need to have the right leaders who can represent, who can legislate, and who can oversight.
I reckon that even when you talk about the origin of the bill, the president, we know where the bill comes from.
Yep.
It comes from the ministers and cabinet, and the president chairs the cabinet.
Before we deviate from there, there's a very, very cardinal point that I have actually heard from you. You see, I come from a medical background.
Okay.
And in the medical background, there is one thing, a principle that works very well. And that is why doctors say it's either you're getting to the patient to save the patient and you qualify. Like, the principle is simple, no guesswork. It's either you know or you don't know. And you see, as young people, that is where we have had a problem, because I always tell people, if you're not part of the solution to a problem, then you're part of the problem. Look, we've been talking about, everybody goes around saying, we need to, we need to, we need to. When are we going to do it? That is why I have told people, as young people, Gen Zs, number one, if we wait for somebody to come and do that thing that we're always talking about, it will never happen. And because we are the vision bearer for a better Kenya, we are the ones to do it. And it must begin from somewhere. You see, when I came actually first and began a One Tribe, One Nation Gen Z movement, people called me Moses. And of course, you see, the things we are doing, we are headed somewhere. When we can have a consolidated voice as the Gen Zs, not everybody coming from there, so that we are going to be in a position, if it is like, for instance, this finance bill that has just come, finance bill has come, then people, if you have a problem, we need to have our own structure and our own, our own order that actually we can canvass it. If it is the experts, as the Gen Zs, we discuss it, we agree. This bill, we have a problem with it, we have a problem with this, and how are we going to approach this? Because even us, and we are going to do this, you're going to watch this, moving forward, actually, you'll see us rise, and we are going to make sure. The war is not over. You'll see what you're about to unveil. You see, if we have a good order amongst ourselves and say, this is how we are going to do it, and even moving forward towards 2027, you see, without our own order, I'm telling you, these are birds of feathers. It's not about sloganeering of one term, of two term, and the rest. You see, now, Gen Zs, we reach to a point, and it's like we almost lost the direction because of being leaderless. The aspect of anybody and everybody coming and speaking on our behalf.
Can I ask, this movement that we talk about, is it an age movement?
No.
Or is it that Kenyans are looking for a change, and it just happens to be people of a particular age that came out and said, it is our time to move it? Because it seems as though what we are doing is segregating the desire for change to the Gen Zs. What is it here that we're talking about?
Well, first of all, let me say, it is not segregating anybody. Kenya belongs to all of us. It's only that the idea and a dream for a better Kenya began with the Gen Zs.
Did it?
And of course,
the idea for a change began with the Gen Zs?
That is from 2024.
Or was it an expression? Because, be careful, I'm asking. Did the idea of change start with the Gen Zs? Or did the overt expression of that change start with the Gen Zs? There's a very big difference between the two.
Yes. Let me put it this way. You see, what happened is all the generations, of course, based on the status quo thing, everybody was admiring for a change. But you see, the people who operationalized this fight, it is the Gen Zs,
there we
right?
go.
In 2024. And of course, at no point we have segregated anybody or said that this is actually for a certain age. No. As long as you're a Kenyan and you believe that we deserve a better country where we have the hospital, the health system working, the education system working, young people having employment, you see, and us doing away with this aspect of ndio upate kazi lazima you must be your second name, how much do you have, who do you know, you get. And this is not actually an age-based war, yeah, or a fight against bad governance, but it is actually holistically for all Kenyans who believes in that liberation. Actually, the best word is that liberation. And you see, what has been happening, fact that you hear us every time talking about Gen Zs, is because when we rose in the streets in 2024, it's majority of us who lost their lives. You had how many Gen Zs we lost in 2024? How many Gen Zs we lost in 2025? So you see, because we started this, we have to make sure that we finish.
Finish it.
Yeah?
Well, Abo,
Yes.
clearly, there is a sort of a consensus that we need a better nation, that we are not doing well. However you define that, we are not doing well as a country, we are not doing well as a people, and therefore we need to transform. We need a paradigm shift. If we continue with how we've been doing our politics, how we've been governing ourselves, and how we've been financing that governance, we are only growing ourselves into poverty in very many multidimensional ways. So there has to be change. We seem to agree on that note. The question is, how do we move from where we are towards a trajectory on where we desire? Because amongst you as a youth, there are those who are still saying, no, let's have a continuation of this regime for another 5 years. You've heard that. And then there are others who are strongly saying, no, we need to change. And even as we change, we want the young people to get into these offices. The argument also from other quarters is that these young people want to get into this office because they don't have jobs. They're simply seeking to secure jobs. They are not seeking to serve the nation. So you see, there are variations depending on who is telling the story. So the question is, how do we move as a nation? Because every nation that has risen, we've been given examples of Singapore, but there are many others, rose because the people sought to build their nation, sought to assume positions of servitude. These people, I don't refer to anybody as a leader. The president is not my leader. The president of Kenya, William Ruto, is my employee. I pay him to do the job. The governor, the same. The MP, they are not leaders in any sense. They are people whom we pay to execute certain mandate. Do we have that understanding that we are seeking to hire people, fire and hire people in 53 weeks, 54 weeks? And are we ready to know, or rather to start that journey of moving from where we are to where we need to go? Let's hear Abok first.
Okay. That question, I can start it by, you see, democracy allows anyone to vie and to contest freely. And we understand that democracy is a rule of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, the change that we want, I think before the late Raila Odinga died, he said that we need to have a national conclave dialogue where all generations needs to sit somewhere. We have a conversation on how we want to move our nation to the next level. We needed to change our constitution. To me, we were told when this constitution came to be that 75% is good, then 25% is bad. And by that time we were told, let us pass it so that we check on how we can change it. For us to move forward, we need to start a conversation on how we can amend or review our constitution. Because the constitution, it has passed around 10 years, I think so. So we need to review the constitution. And this constitution, it should now allow youths to participate in it. We needed to bring the memorandums, the policies that we wanted to address.
So from where you stand,
yes,
what we are having is a constitutional crisis. If we amend the constitution, we may realize some of the ideas.
Why am I saying this? We need also to amend this constitution and give limits to some offices so that youths can be employed, right? Because that is the reason I was telling you, revolution has to achieve its purpose. Our agencies went to the street only to fight for the bad finance bill. They were not having a purpose to give a serious change to our nation, right? Because If you can see from the independence, people
but
are fighting.
Rejecting a bad thing is offering a good
I'm just
thing,
coming
in
to
essence.
that place.
Right.
You see, since independence, for us to attain our independence as a nation, there was a fight for a change. After there was also a fight to change the repeal of Section 2A. They made it clear that this is what we want. We wanted multipartism, right? Today, if you're telling me that we need not to sing William Ruto need not to get to power, and now who is the alternative? Because the alternative is worse than William Samoei Ruto.
And who is that worse alternative that you're referring to?
I don't want to mention names, and I'm allowed to mention the name of the president because he's the only person people will always say, you are doing this, you are doing this. To me, William Ruto is not the problem of this nation. The problem of this nation is us, the youths. If we can define ourselves, if we can reorganize ourselves, and we know what we want to achieve, then we are going to get a better Kenya. But from what I'm seeing, I'm telling you, even if these Gen Zs be given the presidency, in fact, we are going to have a messed nation.
Let's hear them.
I have a question as you respond to that. You know, we will cheapen the movement that happened in 2024 if we just look at it as the overall goal being to reject finance bill. Because beyond that, the Gen Zs told the president, we want you to get rid of the entire cabinet. Why? Because they are not delivering. End corruption, adhere to the rule of law. Governance is important to us. All those were requirements that were being pushed by the Gen Z movement. As much as we would say that finance bill was, but read beyond what was loud, and you will see, because even when the president sat down with the Gen Zs, it was far beyond the finance bill of 2024. That says that if any leader, any technocrat, any policymaker there would only need to sit down and listen to what was being communicated and change for the better. Whilst we agree our constitution has the problem, but the software that we do have, that is our constitution, has given us how exactly to move. It is the very same constitution that has set term limits, age limits on individuals who are serving in public service. If it is the very same government that is appointing people who are over age, who should not serve because of their age, then let's talk about these job opportunities and how the current government is going against the very cardinal rule that is in the constitution. So I think the push for change cannot be reduced to we did not achieve anything. It needs to go beyond what was being said and to just give Kenyans an opportunity to be led right. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, of course, I support that. First of all, I want to challenge my brother here. When you say that if Gen Z joins or takes power in Kenya, we'll have a crisis.
No, I think the word you used was mess.
We'll have a mess. I think that's very wrong, not unless you don't understand and you have not been living in Kenya. Because you see, everybody who lives in Kenya, even the whole world, has actually admitted that the Gen Zs have something to offer. Right from 2024, as Dennis has said. You see, were it not for that bold move, that finance bill would have been passed, which of course was coming to belabor the Kenyans' lives. Look at this. We agree where the problem comes or came in is because, as I said before, that we lacked order. Like now, for instance, when the president came to XPS, people were so emotional. You could hear them call him even names and all that. So the biggest problem we have had is because of lack of order and structure and a good strategy. And I think those are the things and loopholes that you're trying to fill moving forward. And I want to tell you, if Kenya will have the Gen Zs in leadership, I'm telling you, our problems will be halfway sorted, because there's nothing good like when you have the vision bearers being on the table. Because the vision we have for this country is that we are saying Kenya is not a poor country. Kenya is, in fact, it's not supposed to be among the third world countries. Kenya is very rich. If you go to places like when you go to agriculture, we do so well. When you go to business, when you go to creativity, actually, talk about creativity. Imagine we are living in a nation where majority of the Gen Zs, in fact, they say, we don't need to be employed. I'm not studying to be employed. They are creating employment. They are making a lot of money. Meaning, all we need is just a good leadership that will actually make policies that allows and gives a good environment, if it is for the investors, if it is for the agriculture, if it is for the business people. And you see now, where the problem came in is because after we came out and then we had these slogans, dominating, the slogans of one term, the slogans of two term. That is where we messed up. For instance, I'll give you a very good example. We had a very, very great, move and, mobilization technique for voter registration called Tukokadi. Tukokadi was working so well. We even could move from one place to another. We have people massively, voluntarily going to register as voters. But look at what happened. We agreed that we are not going to politicize anything among us for its success. Because the biggest challenge we have in Kenya is politicizing everything. Look at what happened. When Tukokadi, the politicians infiltrated Tukokadi. And some of us were actually taken in the treachery of actually saying Tukokadi means sijui one term. Tukokadi means Ruto must go. That is where we messed everything because of emotions. Yeah, we agreed. Yes, it is true. If at all, we need to chase this bad governance. That is true.
So you agree with him then?
Let me.
If I'm sorry, but if in a campaign where emotions took over, you're not really sure which way you are going, then it sounds like you're agreeing with him. Then if positions of governance and leadership, which is a little bit more intense, a lot more intense actually, then you're saying that emotions might actually rule the day.
But you see, we have learned from there. That is why we have risen.
Okay.
Because we have learned from there that it's actually emotions that have actually been derailing the Gen Z's movement. Because like now, for instance, if Tukokadi, for instance, remained purely apolitical, without allowing one-term people, without allowing two-term people to infiltrate,
Karumba,
that thing we would have achieved. The 15 million target that we had, we would have achieved within no time. But unfortunately, when the politicians came in, Tukokadi was actually completely destroyed to the point that we only registered 2 million and people lost
Karumba,
momentum.
Let me tell you something. These Gen Zs we are talking about, age is just a number, right? And today you might say that we are Gen Zs. You fail not to achieve what you want. Remember, there is generation that is coming. That is Generation Alpha. Alpha will also come and tell you now we don't want to empower because your time is up, right? And I want to tell you this. All our politics are locals. And you have started seeing it. People are realigning themselves back to their cocoons. So this thing we call Gen Z, never again, it will again rise. Let me just explain to you. Just give me time.
That one actually, that is your perception.
Just a moment.
Finish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There is these people who are saying, I'm sorry, we are Sifuna, right? There are these people who are saying, they are the same Gen Zs. They are saying we are Sifuna. There are these people who are saying we are Team Gachagua. There are these people who are saying we are Team Ruto, right? All of them are allowed. It is democracy that dictates to you that you can support any team that you want. Whatever I wanted us to discuss, we need to focus on how we can review our constitution. Why? We haven't reorganized our politics. Today, you might find somebody has retired from public service. He will join politics because he has money. And that guy will bring the politics of tokenism. Now, the politics of tokenism will actually divide all of us, even if he was fighting for one common agenda. Remember, before Gen Z's uprising, 2024. In your opinion, Abo,
Yes.
on that point of tokenism,
Yes.
why does it work?
It worked because most of our youths, not all of them, some are good people. They know how to create employment. They are hardworking. But there are people who are lazy. They don't want to go out and work. Look, whatever is happening in South Africa today,
You know, your fellow
those
youth
people
can
doesn't
hear
want to
you.
work.
Your fellow youth can hear you.
Yes, I'm talking to them.
Are you saying that
This
there
is-
are people
this is-
in the country
this is
today
a campaign.
who don't have work? Because it's very important what you're saying.
Because they're lazy.
Are you saying that there are people in the country today who don't have work because they have chosen to sit and be lazy?
Can I tell you something?
No, I'd like you to answer that.
No, I will just explain to you before I answer you. Today, Karumba here, he has told me he's a medical practitioner, right? If he's not going out to look for job, will that job come to you? But the government needs to create an environment where all youths can actually get employment.
Is it?
Today, we have what we call Nyota, right? If a working youth can go and apply for it, for us, we applied for Uwezo Fund. I want to tell you, we applied for Uwezo Fund. Just a moment, Karumba. We applied for Uwezo Fund. I can just take you guys to the ground. You can see what that Uwezo Fund has done to us.
When was this?
It is during the last...
Uhuru's time?
No, it was towards 2022.
Okay.
And we were given...
Now,
just a moment.
I'd like my question to be answered. I'm
Yes.
still asking.
Yes.
If you're saying that young people who don't have work in this country don't have it because they're lazy.
Not lazy. I have not said that.
You used
they
the
are
word.
lazy. I've just said
You said lazy.
Some. I've not quantified. I've not said all of them.
That's
I'm
why I
just
said
saying
some.
Few. They don't want. They want it to be brought on a silver platter. There is nothing. Even you wake up in the morning to come here for you to work, for you
So
to be
let
paid.
me-
I'm just saying the government need to provide a good environment
And I'm
for
asking-
our youth
and I'm
to
asking-
thrive in terms of employment,
question
in
from
terms of
Dennis.
business.
Dennis has a
Just
question.
hold on.
Where we find ourselves today, is the government creating an ample environment for businesses to be created, for jobs to be created?
Yes.
From a policy
I can
perspective.
say yes. Here is the government. Just a moment, Karumba. The question has been directed to me. You look here, President William Samoei Ruto have stated it clearly that youth should go for Nyota Fund under the youth ministry, right? And there are some youths who are also working in this affordable housing. Yes, it is a temporary thing, but it can sustain you when you are looking for a good job.
Now,
I
I want
agree.
the
Now,
taxman
the
to-
president,
I have a
let me finish with
I
this.
have a question.
Let me finish with
as
this.
you proceed.
There is Kazi Maju.
Which
the president
county?
is looking for
Abok.
this.
Okay.
Abok. Which
organize
county?
this.
Which county are you from?
I'm from, right now I'm in Nairobi County.
Nairobi County.
Yes.
Nyota Fund
Yes.
was rolled out in Nairobi County. How many people?
It has gone even to Kisumu.
No,
It
I'm
was
talking
not-
of Nairobi. You're Nairobi,
Where you
where you
were.
are from.
Yeah.
How many people from your constituency even received the Nyota Fund, and how much of that was converted to employment or job creation?
Now, for example, I have few youths who got the Nyota Fund from
How many?
Kibra.
Few is how
from
many?
Kibra constituency.
How many?
Around 5 who got the Nyota Fund, and there are these other group also who were given as a group, right? They have transformed. In fact, those youths, they decided to go, they were given around 25. That's a total of 75. These youths have gone further. They have
The
gone
three of
to these, we call it credit, what to credit. They have given out the 75. They have been given a motorbike. Today, as we speak, they now have 2. They have paid.
You see,
Nyota Fund has transformed their life. There are also these youths.
those are
that,
3. I was
yeah,
asking how
no,
many
there are
in your-
3.
Those are 3.
Another
How many
one,
received
I'm
the
explaining
Nyota
to you.
Fund in your constituency?
Another youths, they have transformed. In fact, they have taken this Nyota Fund. They have tried the Mutumba. They are now selling Mutumba at Toy Market. This is something that I can even tell you, and I can take you. You can see what they are doing with the Nyota
How
Fund.
many? The question is how many?
To me, I can just say there are around 10 who I know that are doing well with the Nyota Fund. Now, when you go to affordable housing, there are also youths who are working there.
How many from your constituency that you know?
That this data can be gotten from the
No,
ministry.
you see, you're the one who is saying that the president has created employment opportunities, that the funds that have been rolled out are meant to empower the youth and create employment space.
But I've explained to you
if we cannot substantiate the numbers, then it invalidates the comment you are making, you're trying to assert. The point is this. Tokenism, you say it is because people are lazy, or some of them are lazy, that they are not going out to look for a job. If I opine to you that tokenism prevails because of poverty levels, the multidimensional poor we have in this country are so many that any earnings from goons, from tokenism, however you want to call it, is the reason why that fertile ground is existing. Would you agree to that? And most importantly, you know, you say you're in the youth space. and you're seeking change. But you sound to me that you're still defending the same illnesses we are trying to change.
I mean,
President.
Karumba, as well, even as you respond to that, we will equally not be lost to the fact that today investors, local and international investors, have closed shop. Why? Because of a taxation regime that has made it very expensive and difficult for them to operate in this country. Many news stories have covered here of how many Kenyans have been let go because of cost of doing business in the country, and that is coming from a policy direction. Anyone would tell you that that has contributed to the unemployment that we see today, that the young people who are busy waking up to go somewhere today don't have anywhere to go because of a policy direction, Karumba.
Sure. In fact, I'm listening to my brother here and I'm getting shocked whether he lives in Uganda because, you see, first of all, young people of the Republic of Kenya are so diligent. They are so, first of all, they have done their part. If it is studying, if it is actually working, they are very much committed towards success. So saying that, I don't know, young people, they are lazy, that is something that actually I don't know where it has come from. But to be honest with you, let me tell you first of all, the problem here comes with policies, as Dennis has put it. Because you see, like now, when you talk about things like FDIs, the EPZ, it can, if you are honest enough that you want to help the young people with creating employment, would be actually seeing a lot of empowerment towards that side, and of course giving incentives to the foreign direct investments so that at least you can create massive employment opportunities for the young people. But instead, I would like you also to follow from the statistics how many businesses and big businesses have closed and locking young people who have qualifications to work in them. Yeah. Now, here the problem is one. We are not, majority of the young people who are getting opportunities to speak, likes of my brother here, is that they are not talking from a logic, position and a sober position. Instead, you have said it very well that, I don't know, it's democracy for you to be supporting one term, for you to be supporting two term, for you to have this candidate, Lindemann, and all that. But you see, again, if we are going now to follow the same nominals that have been there before, yeah, which have led us to where we are not going to achieve anything. Because remember, before then, our parents used to vote based on tribal lines. Mtu wetu. Mkikuyu, mtu wetu. Mjaluo, mtu wetu. You get? When you talk about the slogans like the ones which have actually come, they are making even the work of these politicians very simple. Because I know, all I need is to come and have 1 million people here come and chant one term, come and chant two term, and the rest, they don't care what do I have for them. And you see, that is the kind of a narrative that we want to change as the young people. But you cannot change this when we are already taking sides and saying, me niko one term, me niko two term. Beyond this one term, what is there? Beyond this two term, what is there? And I actually began by telling you, we are going to unveil something that you're going to see ahead there, whereby it's about the policies. It's about the principles of good governance. It's about what you have, not about the personality cars that, I come from your region. Because you see, like now, for instance, when you tell me that, two term is what is working or one term is what is working, and this is the reason why I should vote for them in 2027. For a young person seated there, have actually graduated from the university, right? They have done their part. Some of them actually were educated through loans and through all that. Yeah? You must admit, first of all, that Kenyans...